Okay, guys, this is very serious. We've been undercover for a little bit, the PokePolice. Been kind of doing our thing, doing small investigations, looking into things, but unfortunately, we have been seeing a lot of Team Rocket activity really starting to spike up a bit. We have not seen this during the Scarlet and Violet era, but we are starting to see a lot more things pop off with Team Rocket and their associates, so it's time we start investigating. We are dealing with other threats, but this is starting to come to the surface a little bit more and is becoming a lot more credible and a lot more interesting. So I'm going to start definitely looking into more things about Team Rocket, and our investigation brought us to Team Rocket Joey and some very interesting information and takes from one of his videos recently. Alright, just kidding. We're not going to wear that the whole time. This thing is so damn heavy. These rifle plates are not the lightweight ones because certain departments are super cheap, so we're not wearing that. We're not doing that tonight. I do want to jump into the PokePolice persona a little bit just because I really love what Team Rocket Joey does. I think it's fantastic. And it'd be fun to mirror that and be like, oh, well, if you're Team Rocket, we're the PokePolice. So more to come. I mean, our icon with our business is already that. If we were to take a look at that. Yeah, see? There we go. Pretty much modeled off of what we do here. Little Houndoom canine, I love it. And so, just some fun stuff. But some interesting topics came across my lap today that we're going to dive into, definitely investigate slightly. I think that there's some possible interesting things coming up in the horizon. And is it going to make the market crash? I think that's the big question that this information is going to kind of bring up, right? It's going to be like, this information that I kind of learned about while watching Team Rocket Joey's content, which, by the way, huge fan. Huge fan. I love Team Rocket Joey. Super enjoyable to watch, a lot bigger than we are. For my very small amount of viewers, if you don't watch Team Rocket Joey, definitely check him out. He has some good videos, good hot takes. Love the persona. It is awesome. Puts a lot of work into his videos, and I can respect that for sure. And I actually think very similar in some ways with his stuff. And I mean, that's the thing, is I love watching other content creators because, you know, we all may have different opinions.
Feel wronged by things that people tell you.
And sometimes we don't. Sometimes we really don't, but you learn a lot from watching other people, and sometimes you, if you're not willing to take information in, look at information and basically say, hey, is this good? Is this factual? Is it something that I need to adapt into myself because I'm lacking it? If you're not willing to change and evolve what you're doing, you're not going to succeed, right? And sometimes I'm wrong, you know, and that's okay. If I learn from it and use that information to adapt, then definitely that's a skill set that's very valuable in a person. And so I love watching other people kind of gathering up that information and seeing where it takes us. And sometimes I absorb it, sometimes it's good stuff, other times other content creators don't really have it. So, but I think Team Rocket Joey is pretty spot on. And if you guys haven't watched this hot take Friday episode, some of the information I'm going over will be from that video. I would recommend watching it. I'm not going to do clips of his videos because I really want you guys to go watch it. It has some interesting takes. He's been in the hobby for a long time, where I was in the hobby, then kind of out of it, and then came back in, made our business, made our LLC, got distribution, all that stuff. And so he's probably seen a lot more market trends than I have. I only have distribution is currently doing and how my customers are reacting and kind of what the market is doing in that respect, whether it's my website, whether it's streaming, whether it is the local card shows or out-of-state card shows I do. Just a lot of information for sure. Just a lot of information for sure. So check his video out. I'm not going to be splicing anything because, like I said, I really want you guys to watch it. And I'm going to be using some of the topics in this video to talk about, but I'm not going to dive into everything that he talks about in here. So obviously there's going to be some gaps, but that's on purpose. I didn't want to just go topic to topic talking about what he talks about. I want to craft kind of the idea of, are there reprints happening and is it going to crash the market? And I'll take some of his takes onto it, but then I'll throw in my own opinion and my own takes on it too. Am I wrong? I could be. I could be. You never know. But I could be right. But that's why we're here, to get different points of view. But like I said, I think a lot of my points of view actually line up with Team Rocket Joy on this one. So I guess the PokePolice and Team Rocket will somewhat align on this front, which is a very funny thing to see for sure. And so what are we going to talk about? Imminent reprints, right? Supposedly there's some imminent reprints coming up, and how is that going to affect the market? And are these reprints or restocks? That could play a factor into a few things too. We'll definitely go over it. But before we dive into that, guys, we do have our giveaway that we're trying to do. It's a lofty goal. It is a very lofty goal. Basically, by May 25th, we're trying to get to 10K subs. If we do, this Prismatic Evolution ETB, Pokemon Center exclusive, by the way, we will give it away to someone. They only did one wave of these. I have not seen a second restock. These were super hard to get. They didn't have the queue system that they currently do. And I really want to get this out to somebody. I really want to get this out to someone. So if we can accomplish that, I think that'd be a lot of fun. It does take some work on your end, but for a over $300 ETB, I think a little work is worth it. If we don't hit the 10K sub amount, 10K sub amount, and you gotta forgive me, it's like 1 a.m. here. Work was crazy. Then we will give away something else, and it'll still be very cool. It just won't be this, and maybe we save it to boost up some more subscribers. But in the video description, I will put the video for that giveaway. All you gotta do is like, subscribe, comment on that so I can pick a comment, and then share the video. We need to share that thing like wildfire. Let's share it out there. Try to get as many subscribers as we can. And even if we don't make it on May 25th, I'm still going to give something away. I had someone on one of my last videos be like, oh, you're not going to give anything away, so we're not doing this. It's like, no, we're still giving something away. It may not be that, because like I said, to earn that, it will take some work. And if that work isn't done, then we're not gonna do that, but we'll save it for a later giveaway for sure. But we will definitely give it away. Not a problem there. So thank you for the shameless plug. And then also, if you feel like supporting us, we do not do Patreon, but we do have our website where anytime distro magically decides to give us some product, we do upload it there. But right now distro does not have anything. I'll talk about what distro recently did have and how it impacted the market, or maybe how it didn't impact the market. But right now we do have our mystery product that is up, and basically at worst, for each mystery product you get a booster pack at a slightly overpriced booster pack cost, or if you're lucky, we have tons of PSA 10 slabs, tons of sealed product. We did actually add in Prismatic Evolutions as well, so that's in there. Surging Sparks is in there, but tons of sealed product in there. Give it a shot if you feel lucky. If not, it's all good. Just a like and subscribe does enough for me. But back on topic. back on topic. So, like I was saying, we have Team Rocket Joy made a video. In the video, he references some information by another good YouTuber named AnonTCG. Check out AnonTCG's stuff. He actually made 2 different videos about the last look at the Pokemon box prices before the reprint hits. And I think there was a second video right here where they give more updated information about the reprints as well. But the TLDR on it is that we're going to be getting a wave of reprints, supposedly. He said his distribution or distributors have confirmed it. Mine have not. But they also kind of keep this stuff hush-hush until it comes, and then they just whip it out on the website, and it's first come, first serve, and that's just kind of how it works. But a lot of the times, especially recently, they put on purchasing limits, not even to the amount of cases. It's like, they brought back some booster boxes like Temporal Forces at some point and said, hey, you can get these. It's going to be right under market, and you can only get 2 of them. Hopefully my microphone's close enough. I'm kind of sitting further back. What are we doing? Anyways, so AnonTCG says that the reprints will be meaningful. And when someone says that, I expect it to mean plentiful. I expect it to mean like there's going to be a lot of them. It's going to be something where I can put in big orders and be able to get what I want. That's what meaningful to me means. So hopefully that translates to plentiful and everybody has a good shot at getting them. I'll talk about the last restock that my distro had and how it was not meaningful whatsoever. It did not impact the market, and it does not foster the market to go lower. It actually fosters it to go higher.
Like all I feel is rage and frustration.
And so we'll take a look. We'll take a look at a couple different things. So he says, AnonTCG, by the way, this is what he's saying, not Joey. So I guess we'll switch it to here for a second. Anon is saying that we are going to get reprints of Paldea Evolved booster boxes, which is interesting because they actually did a restock before 2025. And when they did that restock, they did not do them at their release cost, and they definitely put it just right at market, actually, on the booster boxes. They're like, hey, you can buy 1 case per week, and it will be at market price, essentially, at that current market price. I think they were going for $140, $150 a box, essentially, during that time. And you can only get 1 case per week at that price. So we'll see. we'll see. And so with Paldea Evolved, and we can actually take a look right here. Paldea Evolved. I should have had this pulled up before. I apologize, my friends. But we can take a look. TCG Player has them at a market price of $217. And they are continuing to go up. Still going up in price. Well, they had a little bit of a dip from 220, but even now we still have one at 239, 233. I'd say they're gonna be jumping up here, unless people start panic selling, but we'll cover that in a minute too. So, Paldea Evolved is getting a reprint. And then supposedly Obsidian Flames booster boxes are going to be coming back, and those actually recently got restocked by distro as well, kind of around the same time as Paldea Evolved. They had purchasing limits on it, and you could only order it like once a week, and it was again just right at market price. Twilight Masquerade booster boxes. I have not seen those for a long time. Twilight Masquerade, the journey that kind of went on, is the booster boxes stayed at distro for a little bit, and then I noticed that they started putting limits on it, so I'm like, okay, told all my customers, I'm like, hey, they're going to go out of stock soon, order what you can. They went out of stock. And then the sleeve packs were still around. So I was like, hey guys, sleeve packs are still a viable option. Really good per price pack cost. Good investment thing too, I think. I think people underrate the sleeve cases. I love the sleeve cases. I think they do phenomenal, and I think they're worth getting, especially while things are hard to get, like booster boxes. It's kind of the next best thing in my opinion. And people did not take advantage of them while they were cheap. And once I started seeing order limits on, those also very quickly disappeared after the booster boxes left. They would sometimes pop up here and there at distro where you could buy a box or two, maybe a case here and there, but not really, not cases very often. But that did pop up every now and then. But again, they kept upping the price over time, and every time they did come back, and then they very quickly go out of stock. So it would be cool to get Twilight Masquerade booster boxes back. I'd actually love sleeved cases of all these products as well. I love sleeve packs, and I think the price point is really great. I'd love to see that back, but I doubt we're getting those back. So Twilight Masquerade booster boxes. Surging Sparks is supposedly making a comeback, which is interesting because we have, we actually recently had a Surging Sparks booster bundle restock. You could order 20 a week, and they had it priced just under market, just barely under market, so the margins were kind of crappy anyways. But Surging Sparks did have a restock, and you could get a case of them once per week, but it only lasted for that week. They went out of stock within that week, and then they were gone. They were no more. So it went very quickly. Actually, no. Correct me. I'm going to correct myself because I'm actually remembering my purchases. It's super late, so I apologize. So it actually lasted 2 weeks. So I did get 2 different orders in of Surging Sparks booster bundles. And was very lucky to do that. I just forgot that because my distro, when they did this little restock, ended up being so backlogged with orders that my first order of it was delayed by like a week in shipping. And it took like almost a week, and I had to reach out to them saying, hey, you guys just shipped this out. Am I still good to make another order, or what are we looking at? And so there's that. And then after Surging Sparks, Paldean Fates booster bundles. That's very interesting too. I have them in my basement. I wish I could bring it out and show it, because I do have a display case. But they did have display cases up for 1 week at distro of Paldean Fate booster bundles, and they sold those again right at market. And so those were gone very quickly, and it jumped up the market price on them as well, because again, if you're buying them at market at the time of purchase, you need to make some money. So either one of two things: you sit on it, or you end up being one of the ones that listed above market, and it will get bought because there's not a ton of them out there, which then ups market price. And so, and I guess I'll just kind of talk about it right now, but there was more products that came to distro for a second that only lasted for about a week and then were gone. One of them being, let's see if I have it. I do. 151 booster bundles, and I think this is probably the last time I'm going to be able to get these. But again, you could only get one case per week. It was up there for a week, and then they were gone. And then this thing, it sold out quick. It sold out quick, and they were posted right pretty much at market, very close to market again. So again, I don't foresee these dropping down. In fact, they haven't. Since I made this purchase from distro, they have shot up to, when I last checked, this was a couple days ago, it could be a little different, but when I last checked, let's see, 151 booster bundle. When I last checked, they were like $70, but I'm sure people are panic selling, so it might have dipped down a little bit. Back down to 65. They were going for 70 a few days ago, but it looks like they've dumped down a little bit because I'm sure there's other stores like me that were able to get a case or two. and they probably ended up just panic selling what they could. I don't think that's a good idea, but they're gonna go back up, right? I mean, we already have one today at $69, so almost $70. Obviously it impacted slightly, but not enough. $69 there, $69 here, a handful right here. So $69, it's gonna jump right back up to that. These are as good as gone, essentially. Then they also let us get 2 of these. You can make an order of 2, and then that was it. Then they were donezo. So they sold out very quickly. You could only get 2 of them, which sucks, but this is the 151 UPC. And again, they put it right at market. And I think since I've gotten it, market has jumped up a little bit on them. Let's check it out. Yeah, so they have been floating between... oh, no, they've gone up. And look at this. They are shooting up. They are shooting up. So, market on this, when I bought them, was 300. But now they're already up in the 329, 300, 315, 347 sell. There's a 347, 329. So that's interesting. And what's interesting is I brought one to a card show. And I said, hey, you know what? We're selling this for 315, 320, whatever it was that we said we're selling it for. But I said we could only get 2 of them. There was there will be a little influx of them in the market, but I think when people see more of these hit the market, you're gonna see that some people buy them up, just gobble them up, and it's gonna make other people be like, oh crap, someone got it for 300. But they're getting bought up so quick, I need to buy them. Oh crap, they're 320 right now? Okay, I need to buy that. And then the wave of buyers after that are going to see them at 330 and be like, oh, okay, I need to get it at 330. This is going to be my last chance. So dive down and get it. This did not sell at the card show, ironically. I was very surprised that it didn't. But that just kind of tells me that the people that were interested in it and looked at it during the card show are going to then at my next card show be like, hey, you still selling that for 315, 320? Like, no, sorry, 340 is where we're at now. And they're gonna be like, oh crap, I should have bought it back when it was 315, 320. So that's what ends up happening a lot of the time. So yeah, very interesting. And sorry, we're moving around a lot tonight. Just getting product and taking a look. So a non-TCG saying we're going to get all these reprints, but we kind of already have in some respects. Like I said, we had the Surging Sparks booster bundles, which actually sold very quickly. The first case did. The Paldean Fates booster bundles, I'll be honest, I'm sitting on them. I like that set and I'm tempted to open it for myself, but right now it's just sitting in my basement hanging out. We have our UPCs still hanging out with us. He was saying that Twilight Masquerade had booster bundles come out. I never saw those. Maybe I was just too slow on the draw. I know I've been working a ton. I have my Pokemon business, and then I have my full-time career as well. I'm balancing both, which is horrendous but fun and a big grind. Very time consuming, so I do miss some drops, so I might have missed that. And then the 151 bundle. So we've already, and then Paldea Evolved had a restock as well. So if Paldea Evolved really is getting more reprints, that'd be interesting because they did just restock it. So there's a couple different topics I want to hit. I know we've already been babbling on for a minute, and this is going to be a longer video, so I apologize about that. But a couple different things is, are the restocks going to happen? I'm going to try to get information about that as quick as I can. And if it's a quick, like, yes, they're happening, maybe I'll just whip out a short and just be like, boom, here we go. If there are restocks, how is the reprints? Because restocks is like old printed stuff. And as we know, Scarlet and Violet print quality has been so rough, so rough. And if this is a restock, then it's going to be the same print quality. If it's a reprint, we have an opportunity here. It's going to be like, well, Scarlet and Violet has had terrible print quality. Are we going to get the same print quality? Is it going to be better? Or since they're in a huge rush, is it going to be worse? Because you have to think, we still need Prismatic, a lot of other sets. Journey Together's coming out. Destined Rivals is coming out. Are they just whipping it out of the factory, doing some really crappy cuts? Who knows? Who knows? Because, I mean, even Sword and Shield, a lot of the Sword and Shield stuff I've been opening lately has been crappy. Like those Seeing Sky boxes, the print quality on them has been horrendous. And I almost wonder if Pokemon does that on purpose to affect grading and gem rates. And that's the other thing, is how's it going to affect PSA 10s? Are we going to get super amazing print quality, get a lot more 10s out there, you know, things like that? How's that going to impact the market? You know, what does that look like? Especially with the new PSA grading standards. PSA grading standards with their changes has been rough. My last two submissions, I submitted them during the 60-40 kind of phase of things, but they took so long to grade that they changed it to 55-45, and I got a lot more 9s than what I anticipated. And I'd say the grading scale is definitely a little bit harder now. I used to be able to eyeball cards and get a very good successful PSA 10 rate with my grades. Ever since this change happened, I definitely have decreased in 10s. So what does that mean? It means I'm going to adapt. I'm going to do a better pre-grading process. I bought some tools that are going to help me obviously do better with grading, and we can make a separate video about that. But we're going to do that, and we're going to kind of test some things out. Side topic here, but we're going to test some things out and crack some slabs. We're going to crack some 10s and 9s from PSA, and then get some really minty raw cards, submit them to Tag, and see what the difference is. It's going to be a stupid amount of money, but we're going to try it just for science. We're going to investigate Tag and see how their grading scales to PSA and what that actually looks like. I've been super curious myself, and so we're investigating Team Rocket, going to investigate Tag. It'll be great. It'll be great. And PSA is starting to have a backlog for grading. It is taking a lot longer to grade things than what my previous submissions have been. So that's going to bring up an interesting thing that Team Rocket Joey brings up, but we'll bring that up later in the video. So we talked about the items that are going to be restocked. So is that going to dump the market? There's a handful of factors that we need to figure out to see if it will. For one is, where are we at with market fatigue? I think that's a good thing to check out and balance and try to figure out. We'll talk about more about market fatigue for sure. What will distros price it at? The last few restocks have been brutal. They have been pricing it just right at market or just barely below market. So are they going to price this very brutally? Is it going to be at market? Is it going to be below? Is it going to be to where they sell it to us at MSRP or below? I mean, if they really want, if the goal is to dive down prices, they really need to dive this down below MSRP when they price it out to us, so we can price it below MSRP or right at MSRP and bring those box prices down. And that'd be my goal. I really want to bring down some box prices because I liked it better when I could get a steady stock anytime I needed to and be able to whip out boxes to people for a good price and play more of the volume game. I mean, I can play this more expensive game, that's fine, but I feel like it shuts some people out of the hobby, which sucks. And I'd rather just be pumping out a ton of product consistently than being like, okay, we just got this wave of product, put it up on the website, sells out instantly. Cool, now our website is empty. We don't get views on our website. It's just kind of dead in the water until we can magically get another restock. So a thing to curve that kind of future planning, but we're going to start posting our singles and slabs on the website as well, to give some more content on there. But the mystery product actually does have a lot of packs and other things and booster boxes that give you a chance to get something a little bit more expensive that you normally wouldn't be able to get for just $8. So there's that. The mystery product's still there, and it's still selling and doing well. So yeah, what will distro price it at? Will there be purchasing limits? What's their stock going to look like? Can we just order whatever we need? Or are they going to come to us and say, price at current market, and you can only get one case? Or is it going to be, hey, we're putting it under MSRP, you can only get one case? Or are we putting it under MSRP and you can get as much as you want? We'll have to see. The next key is, our Pokemon fans, investors, whatever it is, are they going to panic sell and dump all their stuff when they see numbers starting to dip? If they do dip, are we going to see a panic sell? Because I know a lot of people, when they see a market change or go a little bit lower, they feel that hurt. They're like, oh, I just lost money. And it's like, did you though? Overall, we'll jump into that, but it's like, did you really? Because if you have a booster box, let's say you got for $5, it jumps up to 100, but then drops back down to 60, you're still on top. Like, you still made money. You didn't technically lose money. And that just tells you, if it made it to a high point at one point, it's going to make it to that. I guess we're diving into this now, my bad. It'll make it back up to that high point at some point. It may take some time, but most good investments do take time, and you gotta be a little patient. So if people panic sell, then yeah, that's what's going to happen, and we'll crash the market a little bit. I feel like that did happen with Paldea Evolved. When they did the restock, I saw a lot of stores just pumping out their stuff, just dumping it, and it impacted the market for like a few days, and then it went back up to what it was, and then continued to exceed its plateau. If anything, it helped it grow more. I was gonna say, I think Paldea Evolved kind of flatlined a little bit, and then that restock, in my opinion, kind of pumped it up a little bit. And a lot of people complain that there's no good investments in Pokemon right now. And I remember making a video where I put up a ton of different booster box cases saying, hey, I can only order one of these from distro. They're starting to limit these booster box cases. So that tells me that they're going to go out of stock, and that prices are going to be going up on those sets. And so I said, hey, I will give some of you guys a good deal. I'll post them up on my website. You know, it's not going to be obviously the cheapest that you've seen it, but it will be cheaper than what it will be in the future, for sure. And I put that good investment opportunity up. We put it under market. No one online bid for it. It's very surprising. And Team Rocket Joey brings up a good point with this. When things are cheaper, people don't want it. People just do not want it. It's not interesting if it's cheap. It's interesting if it's expensive. And so you get people that end up dumping their investments on the low, but then rebuying at a high, which is the best way to do it, right? And so, you know, you saw a lot of people just dumping that stuff and panic selling, and it was crazy. No one took me up on my investment deal that I offered people online, but my local populace I sell to, because I'm like a roving, I rove around and basically be a store, not only online, but for my local populace as well. They took advantage of it. They scooped it up and they said, oh, yep, we got this. This is going to be a good deal. And it's been a good deal for them so far. And so I'm tempted to put out another good deal. You guys will have to let me know if that's something you're interested in. Here's what we got. These are harder to find right now. These are definitely harder to find. This is a sealed case of the flat Surging Sparks booster bundles. Flat Surging Sparks booster bundles. They sell for quite a bit because it's hard to find these in a sealed case. So there is a premium to them. They sell, the last sold on them was pretty expensive. But here's what I'll do. I'm going to put it $5 to $10 under that. because we know that this is going to grow. This is long-term going to grow and be beautiful, and it is sealed, and you cannot find a lot of sealed stuff, because even with distro, with these reprints, if they happen, they could technically say, hey, you're getting 3 boxes, which means you're not going to get a sealed case. It's getting harder to get sealed cases now because of the limits they put up. And so if these reprints come at an amount to where you can't get sealed cases, that just makes it all that more harder. So let me know in the comments if I should put this up just a little bit below last sold, or technically I should just put it at last sold because it's still a good deal, because we know long term this thing is going to go up. Surging Sparks is a huge set right now. So let me know. Let me know if I should do it or not. Because if not, I'm just going to sit on it, and that thing will grow and grow and grow. So, are we going to panic sell? Who knows? So Team Rocket Joy brings up market fatigue and talks about market fatigue. Where are we at with that? That's a great question. It is kind of hard to tell because there's some things going up and some things going down. It's not all just like one even across the board, everything's going up. It's a, you know what? It's a balance of some sealed stuff. I think sealed stuff is actually the safe investment right now because it's going up and doing very well. Doing very well. Where a lot of the singles are starting to kind of go down a little bit. But again, not to say you should panic sell or change anything, because if those singles dip down a little bit, that just tells me once these reprints go away, or once there's rumors that we're not going to be getting that set anymore, or there's no more prints, or oh crap, this reprint run had really bad quality, it's going to be harder to get a 10. A lot of those cards raw or in a 10 will jump back up to what they were and even go up higher from there. So basically, here's where I'm at with how I feel like the market fatigue is I feel like we're not there yet. We're not there yet. I still sell out everything on my website. When I go to card shows, I still do very, very well. I'll be honest, last Friday, Friday's kind of a weird day to do a card show. I like the Saturday, Sunday ones, but last Friday, it was super slow at my card show. And I was like, oh crap, maybe we are hitting market fatigue. Maybe people are sick of this stuff. And you know what? But then Saturday rolled around, the crowds came in and everything was getting sold. We sold some really expensive stuff that were at much higher prices that because the market's been going up. We sold out all of our Surging Sparks booster bundles. It was really good. It was really good. Well, all the ones that we opened from the first case. Our second case we still have. So people are still buying a lot of sealed product, but they're also still buying a lot of singles. Still buying a lot of singles. But how long can that last for? I know a lot of reports have been coming out saying credit card debt is at an all-time high. And with all these sets coming out, because every set lately has been really good epic sets in the last year. I mean, I would say since 151, a lot of sets didn't get the recognition or attention they deserved, but once they sold out from distro, they definitely did get the attention they deserve and started to go up. And we've been seeing since Surging Sparks, sealed stuff has just been nuts. And we saw it with Prismatic. People are still going crazy about Prismatic. People follow the restockers. They immediately buy out everything that's there. My local stores have had nothing there. And we saw with Blooming Waters. Blooming Waters has hit Costco several times. And we'll queue up some micers to tell throughout this video of him raging because it's my favorite. It's my favorite edit that we do. I love Dr. Mike being pissed off. We're pulling a total Grey Goose set and splicing him in all the time. We shouldn't, but we're going to. So Blooming Waters, people are getting mad and fighting about it. They had to set up purchasing limits. They still sell out immediately. People wait outside forever in line to get them. And then during my card show weekend, there was 2 different online drops, and they sold out immediately. And that was even with a 1 purchase per membership per day. Still sold out immediately. The Sea and Sky boxes, once they hit Sam's Club, they immediately go. We have people picking up entire pallets. At least in my state, I've watched entire pallets go, and that's it. GameStop recently had 151 booster bundles, and people waited in line forever to get maybe 1 or 2, and I'd say the fatigue is not over yet. It's not over. I think people are annoyed about the pricing currently, but they continue to purchase. They continue to consume. And my next card show, I'm doing a card show next weekend. What I'm going to do is every person I interact with, because I do record all my vendor POV stuff. I just have not had time to edit it. It takes forever. It's not fun. And when you're time constricted, it definitely takes forever. I probably need to find an editor. That's just expensive. I probably can't afford it. So I should have an editor. Can't afford it. So I'm just going to keep doing it myself, even though I don't know anything about editing, but that's where we're at. I'm going to do a little survey for everybody interacting with me at the card shows. I'm going to ask them a set of questions. I'm going to say, hey, have you bought any Pokemon sealed product above MSRP since the release of Prismatic Evolutions? If you have, are you going to continue to buy Pokemon product above MSRP? And if so, for how long? Where's your stopping point? And on top, like, what set are you going to stop at? What set is the end? And then I'm going to possibly ask, what else am I going to ask? I think that's pretty good and simple, and we can get through those questions pretty quickly. So those are the questions I'll probably ask as we do our investigation and kind of just gauge the market based off of my customers, get a little sample size there. And so here's the other thing too. And Team Rocket Joy brings up a very good point. These sets we currently have are not even the end all be all. We still have a ton of sets coming out through 2026. We still have, obviously, Journey Together, which, by the way, allocations are going to be abysmal. I'm only getting 2 booster box cases, 7 ETBs, not even a full case of ETBs. I used to be able to get anything I wanted, as much as I wanted, not even getting a full case of ETBs. It's ridiculous. Allocations are going to be abysmal. They're not going to be good. So they may have reprinted some of the previous sets, but these newer sets do not have that quantity. They do not have that power. They have a lot to catch up on, and I don't know how that's all going to look for the future sets. It's going to be rough. So anyways, Journey Together is going to be rough. We have the Team Rocket set coming out. We do have a black and white set coming out and some other things. We have the 30th anniversary coming out. We have so many good sets coming out that instead of having like one good set a year where everyone's pinpointed on it and it's just like, boom, here we go, the spotlight is going to be like this big, encompassing everything, because everything's pretty much a good set. I'd say everything's a pretty well-rounded good set with good cards, good SIRs. It'll be interesting to see if they can reprint a ton to where it can't even get scalped anyways. And on top of that, there's so many good sets out and about, especially in the next handful of months. Like, the focus is going to be so spread out that everybody can't just buy all the sets if there's supply of them. They're going to have to spread their focus all over the place. So, what sets will people focus on? Will they say, oh, Twilight and Paradox are really cool, but now these other sets are out. Screw 151, screw Surging Sparks, I just want Rocket. Or I just want the black and white set. Like, if Pokemon is able to achieve a ton of supply and a ton of product just out and about, while all these other sets are out too and coming out, I think it could help the market a bit, and it would make it harder to, you know, laser focus on one set for a lot of people. And that would be interesting. I'd love to see that, but I don't think it will happen because the newer sets that we're getting allocated are abysmal, so I don't think they can catch up quick enough to make an effect like that happen, to be honest. But that's just my opinion. We'll see. Team Rocket Joey also says that we have not seen the bull market peak yet, and I agree with this. I think we are still seeing some cards hit their forever highs. We have some cards that have started to go down, but are peaking, that will go back up. They will go back up, especially while supply gets bought up a little bit, especially with what PSA has going on as well. I think we will see, and that's the thing, is we hit some very fast, quick limits on some cards, like very quick highs, just right out of the gate. And they dip down from that, but that just tells me if they made it up there to that peak before, they're going to hit that peak again. And people will be used to that peak. They'll be like, oh yeah, it used to be that. Well, I'm going to spend some more, or I'm getting tax money, or I'm getting my Elon Musk check. And they will then surpass the original peak price. So I think that could definitely happen for sure. I think that the bull market is not going to be done for quite some time because we have so much demand, so much good sets coming out, so many people willing to buy it at current market to then flip it at a higher market, increasing the market value over and over. I think that will definitely happen. But as far as fatigue go, at some point it has to stop, right? People will run out of money at some point, and that's where we could see some panic selling and some other big things happen, right? Let's say this restock by Pokemon is super huge, like super, super big. This reprint is so big that not enough of it can be bought up, so distro has it in their stocking shelves for a long time. And even if they boost up the price, let's say the high price at distro is super high, there's a ton on the shelf, but then TCG player, and people know it too, but then TCG player has a ton of stock as well. Way too many people bought in trying to scalp. What's going to happen is basically people will just stop buying, being like, okay, well, there's a lot out there, it's time to make these people compete. And then you're going to see people race to the bottom. You're going to see people race to the bottom. People are going to want to sell their product, and they're going to panic because they feel a little pain from their investment dropping down just a little bit. They weren't in it for the long term, they're just in it for the short term quick flip. And you're going to see people then panic sell and really dive down prices from there. I could see that happening, but like I said, the conditions have to be so perfect to make that happen. As far as distro getting a big stock being, whether it's high price or low price, it doesn't matter. It could go either way. If it's low price, they'd influence the market faster. If it's high price, then the third party has to crash out, and then distro eventually will be like, oh crap, we have it marked up so high. Right now it's being panic sold, and they'll do one of two things. They'll either sit on it and wait for the market to go back up, or they will plummet their prices like they did with Paradox Rift, because there was a time where you could get Paradox Rift from distro for super cheap and no one wanted it until everybody wanted it. That could happen too. It's just so hard to dive into all these possibilities because not just one thing will cause it. It has to be a chain reaction of multiple things. And that's why we're kind of talking about it and kind of going through the different possibilities of how that could pan out and how that could happen. And so yeah, like I said, when prices go lower though, that's when people kind of get disinterested. So we'll see if prices do get lower, what will happen with stock. Will people be like, oh, okay, I'm not going to buy. Everything's low now. We got time. And maybe you don't. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. And Team Rocket Joey brought up an interesting point saying Prismatic supply will get so large and surging sparks that there will not be enough demand to meet supply. I have no idea about that one. Surging Sparks, like I said, it has not had a reprint of booster boxes or restock of booster boxes since launch. It has not shown up. We have not gotten any booster boxes, and we have not gotten any sleeve packs. And usually on a new set, sleeve packs last for quite some time. Those were gone immediately. Those were definitely gone immediately and did not last. And they were not restocked. So Prismatic and Surging having such a high supply, I don't know about that one. I know 151, even on day one of release on that, I saw people flipping booster bundles because the supply was so low. Like the stores maybe got one booster bundle display. I saw people flipping bundles of that locally for like $50 on day one. On day one, they were flipping it for a pretty good profit. And I mean, it's only at 65 market right now. So for day one of 151 to be able to flip locally for $50 a bundle, I don't know about that, but the supply was pretty low too. And I mean, it would be cool. I love Prismatic. I want to open more of it. I want to open it at a cheap price. I think that'd be fantastic. I have not heard anything from my distros saying that there will be any new stock soon. I have not seen that. I have not heard it. I hope so, but probably not anytime soon. I know Pokemon put out that one letter saying that they're going to increase printing, but so far it's just been like restocks, hasn't really been reprints. So I don't know about that either. I hope that happens. I do. I hope that happens because I feel like I didn't get to enjoy that set and a lot of other people didn't get to enjoy that set. My allocations on that set were terrible, so I'd be fine with it. I'd love to get more and I'd love to sell more, but I'm not going to bank on that one. I'm not going to bank on that one unless, like I said, the conditions are perfect to where there's so many different sets coming in at once that that people's focus is, whoops, as I knocked my microphone, people's focus is this big instead of pinpointed on Prismatic, then sure, I could see that. But I don't know if it's going to play out like that. And are scalpers going to get to it first? Are people going to continue buying at current market price if scalpers do get to it first? That's another big thing that needs to be figured out too. And this market is just different from all other markets that have happened in the past, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Investment advice. We'll kind of dive into that a little bit, I guess. Yeah, we'll do that. Let's do that. Team Rocket Joey brings up an interesting point in his video saying that SARs and IRs could very dramatically dip in price. And he attributes some of that to not only the reprints but the backlog of PSA. And I could see that. I could definitely see that. I mean, right now PSA's grading times have been longer than they have been for like a year or so. I could see them getting super backed up with all the big hits, just like waiting to get graded, and eventually they start filtering through like all at once and getting done quicker. Not quicker, but they just start flooding the market, and then all of a sudden we have a ton of PSA 10s, not enough people buying them all at the same time, and there would be too many of them. There's so many illustration rares that are just popping off right now. And then same with all the big hits. And so, for one, I mean, kind of pending print quality approval, because print quality has been really bad. It's been hard to get some 10s on cards lately. If there are a lot of 10s, I could see, and then the reprints happen around the same time, I could see prices dipping down quite a bit. I could see them dipping down quite a bit, which, again, whether it's sealed product or slabs, if the market drops and you guys are going to panic sell, that's perfect. I will scoop it up. I will buy it. So I do invite a crash. I like crashes. I will invite them, and I will buy a product because I know I'm more of a long-term guy, not the short-term flipper like a lot of people are right now. I'm more of a long-term guy, and I know as long as I hold it for a long time, at some point I'm going to be correct. It might take many years for it to go up in price and become expensive, but I know at some point I will be right and it will get expensive, so I'll scoop up all the stuff people panic buy. I'll sell it when it gets higher up in price again and invest a lot of it and hold it and keep it in a dungeon for a very long time. I will do that. I have that patience. And so it'll be interesting to see with PSA's increased grading standards and how many cards are currently at PSA, if that will affect the market as well, especially with singles, and then if the reprint sealed prices change up as well. That's an interesting combination to consider. But on the flip side, and he brings up a good point about this, and again, I agree, I think that SARs have not even reached close to their pricing potential. There's some SARs that just have not taken off yet that should, and I think they're going to be big, and I'm investing in a lot of these SARs that are smaller, and even the big ones I'm investing in a handful of those as well. But SARs have not seen their limit, and I agree with that, because some of them have only been out for a year, have already hit so high, and even if they're dropping right now, I think that there's going to be a couple different things that influence it. One, reprint will probably influence the price, but then two, what's been happening with reprints and restocks is it kind of rekindles the market. It kind of makes people excited again because there's stuff out there, and then they end up buying everything and making the market price go right back up to where it was or higher. And that's what I've been noticing, and I don't think this bull market's done anytime soon. And so I've seen a couple cards so far over the last year that have dipped down and then end up skyrocketing above whatever their last highest point was. And I think, to be honest, reprints really do rekindle that. And if grading standards end up being a lot harder by PSA, it's harder to get 10s. I can see that making 10s go even crazier. And then you have to remember, as soon as they start announcing, hey, we're done with Scarlet and Violet sets, we're cutting off the printing on it, we're starting with the new generation, we're going to the next thing, they're going to jump up even higher. And so we haven't even seen the peaks yet, because it hasn't been a long time. It has not been a long, significant amount of time for their prices to even just skyrocket even higher. So you have to remember, we're going to get an announcement at some point saying, hey, we're going to be done with these sets, and it will blow up. It will blow up. And so as far as investment advice, I mean, I'm not an expert, but I'm playing my hand at it. I'm giving it a shot. If you're going to invest in Pokemon, you have to be realizing that you're going to hold it for at least 5 to 10 years, if not longer, because all the sets eventually, inevitably will go up, and that's how it works. You hold on to it forever, and eventually it will go up in price. But that's why you diversify too. I mean, there's going to be some sets that you know are going to be standoutish, that are going to be very expensive long term and hold a lot of value. But then there's going to be some sets you never anticipated being big, but then kids that grew up during this time, once they get adult money, are going to say, yeah, that set was big, and bring that price right up. So that's why you diversify. Get a little bit of each set, you know. Play it safe, but get what you can and hold it for a long time. So I think that'll be interesting, and PSA isn't even as backlogged as they have been in the past. I mean, I've heard tells that back at some point in time, grades would take like a year almost to get back. So we haven't hit that point yet, which tells me the market is still going to climb. Definitely still going to climb. And even if things dip down, it's going to get better and get up higher. But panic sell. Do panic sell so I can buy your stuff. So, Team Rocket Joey, great takes. Great takes, I love it. Before we wrap things up, let's take a look at some of the singles and PSA 10 pricing on things and see where the market has been going, because there are some cards that definitely do dip down in price. It's very interesting. We have the PSA 10 Charizard from 151, which was going for like a grand, you know. High 900s to 1,000 was going up that high. we have dropped down to 875. 875, 860-ish, 930. It's still all over the place. It's still bouncing around all over. But it looks like, you know, mid 800 to low 900s is the current pricing. So not the 1,000 that it was, but a lot of people will see this. Like we can already tell, right? If we're going by these last solds, 860. Someone's like, oh crap, I gotta sell my stuff, and you know, it's going down in price. I gotta get rid of it. And then this guy was like, I gotta get rid of mine too. I got $10 more than the last guy, but gotta get rid of mine. Gotta just dump it. And so, in my opinion, there's still a gain though, right? Even though, let's say, you know what's ironic is probably about 4 or 5 months ago, these were selling for about $300, maybe $350, and I sold a handful of them at $350, and I wish I kept a handful of them. Maybe sold only 1 or 2, because nobody knew it would have jumped up this high this quick. And so, I mean, even if you bought it at $300 and went up to 1,000, then dropped down to this 860 point, you're still up. Like, don't panic sell. Don't panic sell. You're still up at this point, and you're still up a significant amount. And you know if it dips down to this point, it will go back up. So don't be silly. Don't be silly. Hold on to it. Pikachu Surging Sparks right off the bat, right out of the gate. As soon as this thing sold like its first handful of PSA 10s, it was multiple thousands of dollars. And now we see it getting down to the low 900s. March 2nd is the last one that was sold, 933. We do have 1,000 here on the 27th. There was an offer somewhere here, probably low 1,000-ish range, 979, 1,000-ish, 918. That's a pretty low one, 980, 946. So definitely seeing a dip in that, but of course, the first handful of Pikachus were definitely sold at a way higher rate than what they should have been. And then they dipped down to this point, or dipped down to like the 1,000-ish range, and then continued to fall from there. So I almost wonder if people are starting to panic sell their Pikachus as well a little bit, and that's why we see more popping up. So obviously more are popping up. I think people are a little bit scared of that dip. And again, if you pulled that if you bought the Pikachu for $450, graded it, got a 10, still sells for 1,000 or 930 to 1,000, you're still up. You're still doing okay. So don't panic. Just hold it. Just hold it. It'll go back up. And that's the thing. It usually goes back up to its original high point at some point. It usually does. Lugia Alt Art. Love this card, by the way. I love this card. 659, 630, 659, 674, 682. This one has actually been holding its value pretty steady in the 600s. Almost 700. Like, we need to just bump it up to 700. Let's do it, guys. Let's do it. Bump it up to 700. Just throw in a $700 offer and get it bought up. But anyways, this one, it's Sword and Shield. It's already been announced that it will not be reprinted. We know it's going to be hard to get Silver Tempest packs. So this card will continue to grow. I don't think you'll see the big dips on it, but it's also not a secret illustration rare. It's different from Scarlet and Violet. But I just wanted to throw this in here to kind of show one of two things. Or I guess two different things. For one, all the current Scarlet and Violet big hitter cards like Charizard and Pikachu and stuff like that, and even the Umbreon, have been out for a significant less amount of time and are still more expensive than a big hit like Lugia. Lugia is a big hit, very big hit. And so it's like the only really good hit in Silver Tempest. This card has been out for a long time. I mean, why did that do that? I just wanted to look at a picture. Oh, I guess we can't. So anyways, there we go. Came back in 2022. It's a 3-year-old card, right? So a lot of the big hitters of Scarlet and Violet are obviously a lot younger than this card. and they have already outpriced this card. They have outpriced this card. They are younger, and even if they're dipping down, that just tells me they're going to go right back up and be much higher than this. So that's why I think secret illustrations are underrated. I think they're definitely underrated because you look at this data and, you know, this card is growing. Don't get me wrong. Lugia is growing. It's doing a good job, but it has not grown nearly as quick as an SIR. And it's well past its print run, and it's slowly climbing up, but it's not making the gains a secret illustration rare like Pikachu, Bubble Mew, and Charizard make. So, and Lugia is a very important big card to people, so I think that means that, of course, Lugia will keep growing, but it also shows that SIRs have not even come close to making their cap. So now we have the Umbreon, which ironically is still holding very true to its value. We had some initial high sells for the first handful of them, but of course they're still staying above 3,500 there, 3,900 here, 3,500. There's a $4,000 as soon as on February 10th, February 8th 3.8, February 7th 4.5, 4.65. Ooh. So these are like the early ones, the $5,000 ones. But as you can see here, they are doing very well. Very, very well. Staying very healthy. They obviously dipped down from like those $5,000 ones. No one expected them to stay that high, but they're still floating between 3.5 to $4,000. So still very strong. Like I said, I think it's going to continue to be strong. And if it dips down a little bit more, that's fine, because that just tells me that this is already more expensive than... How much is the Umbreon? How much is that thing? Let's see. Umbreon VMAX Alt Art PSA 10. So yeah, this thing is already outperforming the Umbreon. And a lot of people are like, oh... Man, I like Moonbreon better. I hate the crowns. I hate this. I hate that. But look at this, 2.3, 2.4, 2.8. So like they either... No, there's just no comparison. This one is doing absolutely better. And it has not even been out for even close to a year. It's only been like a month or two. It's only been a month or two. We're still releasing product. We're still getting booster bundles, which by the way... as far as flooding Prismatic to where it beats, where supply beats demand, I'm only getting one case of booster bundles from my distro. So that supply is not coming from the booster bundles. Trust me, there is not enough booster bundles to go around. The supply will not meet demand with booster bundles because the the distribution allocations of that are again abysmal. And I'm not even going to sell mine. Like, I'm not going to sell them. I'm not going to open them. I'm only getting one display case. So that means I'm going to sit on it like a dragon, which I think with these reprints coming up, a lot of people could sit on it like a dragon. Like, a lot of people might be like, you know what? I'm not getting very much from distro. It's a few cases. I'm going to sit on them for better long-term value, and I'll sell them further down the road. That's another thing that could throw a wrench in all this, is if people do get their stuff from distro but decide to sit on it, which I can see, because I do it sometimes. But anyways, this Umbreon is already beating out Moonbreon right out of the gate, and its pricing is staying so strong, so very strong. So again, SIRs have not met their potential. Obviously, crowns on Pokemon's heads don't matter as much as what people think, because this thing's still going wild. Still going absolutely wild. Again, if it dips down from here, it will get back up. I'm not too worried about that. So, where's the market going to go? Where's my opinion on it? Again, I can't give a for sure answer because there's a lot of variables. Are people going to sit on the product? Are people going to panic sell? Is distro going to have enough product to make it to where stores can get like myself, get whatever they want? Or is it going to be limited? If it is limited, what's the pricing on it? Is it at MSRP, below MSRP, at market? Are stores going to hoard it and sit on it? Because if they put it right below market, it's not worth selling. You'll end up having more in fees and packaging and shipping. So not worth selling. You might as well just sit on it for a little bit and then let it go gain value. And either you do a short-term flip on it, or you end up keeping it for years until it goes up significantly and then realize your gains from there. So I guess if I was to give a full-on opinion, I think that the reprints will be short-lived. I don't think there's enough supply to meet it, especially with all the new sets they gotta print out. So I think they'll be slightly short-lived. I think distro is not going to price them correctly. I think they will post them maybe not right below market, but it's going to stay above MSRP. I don't think they'll post them below MSRP. And I think that it may dent the market for a second, but then all the product that had a reprint will not only go higher than what they, or get back to what they were, but they'll go higher, and that there will be a rekindling to buy these products, and people will in their minds say, hey, crap, I didn't get it at the reprint price because it wasn't as cheap as what I thought it would be, but now I've missed out on that, and now boxes are going up again, and I know this was a reprint, which means there's not going to be another reprint on those sets coming anytime soon. So now I need to buy it above the market price it originally was at, because I know I'm not going to be able to get it. Something like that. That's like my scenario number one. Scenario number two is they really do just print the hell out of everything and make everything below MSRP for us to get, so we can either list it below MSRP or at MSRP depending where they put it. Then scenario two is, yeah, if the market will be affected and people will panic sell, and it will be beautiful because I love it when people panic sell. We'll see. I don't know where it's going to go, but those are my two predictions. But I'm thinking my first one is more likely to happen than the second, because there's so many conditions that need to be perfect to make people panic sell and to have enough supply to defeat demand. Defeating demand's hard, and so you have to defeat demand to get people to panic sell, and I don't think we'll hit that point. And distro has to be fair. That's the other key, is distro has to be fair, and I don't think that's going to happen. So guys, super long video. I'm so sorry, but thank you so much for watching. I think you are all awesome. Team Rocket Joey, you are awesome as well. I hope you all have and a non-TCG. Thank you for your content too. But I think you all should check them out. I think you should all have a good night. Don't do anything crazy.